Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our training videos exploring the different skills and qualities needed to be a leader. Today we're going to talk about learning something new. When was the last time you learned something new? What have you learned that's new? And how has it helped you in your leadership journey? If you want to share that, then please feel free to do so in the comments below. I'd love to know what it is that you are doing that is new, exciting, why you're doing it, and why it's motivating you. So my name is Igwe. I have over 35 years experience working across 5 different countries and leading teams across Europe, Middle East and Africa. I've created, grown and led these teams to amazing success, and it's been a real pleasure and privilege to do it. So what I do in these videos is just share through my own experience but also my own learnings, what it is to be a successful and great leader. So how does this break down? We're going to talk about learning something new, and I'm going to break it down into curiosity, activating your brain, and having fun. Let's face it, at the end of the day, many leaders think, well, I don't have time to learn anything new. I don't want to learn anything new. I've learned all there is to learn, and therefore that's why I'm an amazing leader. But that's false. You see, as a leader, we scale from mountain to mountain, to peak to valley, to peak to valley, each one getting higher, more difficult to scale. Sometimes it gets quieter, easier. But as a leader, you need to continue to stimulate your brain, stimulate your creative, thoughtful process that allows you to understand not only what's going on outside, but also inside. So as we look at this and we say to ourselves, okay, I want to learn something new, but how do I start? Well, I'm suggesting the first one is to start with being curious. You see, curiosity is one of the greatest ways of learning. If we're not curious about something, how can we start to stimulate ourselves? So let me take an example. If you are somebody who likes to undo things, maybe you like getting into literally the underneath the hood of a car, you want to know how the car works. Maybe you'll take it apart and put it back together. We remember back to our Lego building days where we would build things, then take them apart and build something new. Or we put a puzzle together, scrap the puzzle, start again. These are all ways in which we become curious about what to do. We live in a world full of technology today. Whether it's new social media platforms, whether it's new technology in terms of mobile phones, laptops, iPads, whatever it happens to be. And you are maybe of a generation where you haven't been brought up with that. You want to get into it because you don't want to miss the boat. Get something that is curious and starts to generate that level of curiosity that you may need to have. So whatever it happens to be, find something that you think, that's interesting. I don't know how to do that. A couple of very quick and simple examples. If your brain is going, you're thinking, what can I do? What about you're a wine drinker? You love wine. You love great wine. Or maybe you've just started to drink wine. You might want to know how it's made, where it comes from, how to taste, smell in different ways. Why not do a course in wine? What about cooking? Having the meal at these beautiful restaurants we go to, or our wives, in my case, cook for us, and you may say, I wouldn't mind trying that. Well, in some cases you might have to fight for space in the kitchen, in the case of my wife, because she bans me from the kitchen, although I'm a very good cook. But she will say, I will do it. And you sort of think to yourself, well, what if I started cooking? What about learning to cook, taking cookery classes? Wouldn't that be amazing? So find something that's curious, but stimulates you as well. Ideally, if it's paid for also, then you're less likely to give it up. So if you can find a course that meets those expectations you pay for, and you're going to continue to get the best out of it, then do so. So that's curiosity. You have to have curiosity to want to learn. And then activate the brain. I put this in here because it's really important. Many of us Whether we're leaders or not doesn't matter. We operate as human beings with our particular main thought or thinking process. So let's say, for example, you are a right brain thinker. So you are creative. You use your creative processes, your imagination, and so on. What about looking at your left brain, giving it something to stimulate it? Something more tangible, something more structured maybe, which is not the normal way you operate. So a very simple example could be architecture, although architecture could be partly right brain, but you're not going too far away. Architecture, you may say, oh, I love that cathedral. I wonder how it was built. Well, why don't you go and research and understand how a particular cathedral was inspired, thought of, built, the stones, the design, the construction, all those sort of things that are very much more linear, closer to my original life as a civil engineer. So you're taking that in. You could have something that's even more linear and logical on that side of the brain if you wanted. And then the other side is those of us like me, as I said, started out as a civil engineer, logical systems, processes, that kind of thinking. What about something for your right brain then to be thinking about? What about something that takes you into a totally different space? It could be something like learning a new language, which is very much a right brain activity. Learn a new language. Maybe learn to sing, if you like. That could be something else you may want to do. But as you do that, you start to move. You on the one hand, you help the brain to operate better because it's used to doing both things, or gets better at doing both, but it's also because you have this desire to learn something new, acquire a new piece of knowledge and information. So activate your brain, stimulate your brain, and keep it going as much as possible. And then the final one is, and it goes without saying, to do anything like that, you've got to have fun. If it's not fun, it's tedious. And if it's tedious, you're going to stop it partway through. So why don't you find something that meets the curiosity barrier, activates the brain as well, and it's fun to do. Now it could be, in that case, not on your own, although to be honest, language classes, maybe cooking classes, you would do in groups. So maybe you're more of a social animal. You need people to do that activity with. But whatever it happens to be, it's about stimulating your mind, because what happens there is you're almost at the same level, or maybe you are, as everybody else. If you're learning about wine, they're not going to put you into an advanced class. You've got to start from the basics, the foundation. If you're learning a language, they're not going to throw you into a class which is fluent or speaks fluently. You're going to start with those who don't know. So you'll be at your level. So in a sense, you'll all be together at the same starting point. So going from being the senior executive or leader or whatever it happens to be in a situation where you're going to have to learn, you're going to have to start. You start to see the world differently, and that helps you in all different ways. One of my quick stories, a long time ago, I went to Scotland for a weekend to do a personal development program with a guy by the name of Jack Black that had a program called Mindstore. And apart from going to the Mindstore weekend, I can't remember how I got onto it. But anyway, during the weekend, we were doing whatever Jack was sharing with us in terms of that whole personal development and growth space. And he brought somebody on to stage to do a little section. His name was William Spear, an American. And his focus and his speciality, and he's a world leader in that space, is Feng Shui. I was blown away by this. I'd never heard of Feng Shui, although it's been around for 5,000 plus years. Didn't know what it did, why it was important, why it was interesting, fascinating. So for me, it filled all these. My curiosity was activated straight away. My right brain, because I'm a left brain, but I've got both now, my right brain was activated about this whole new space. And I just thought, this is really cool. This is fun. Why don't we check it out? And it turned out to be an amazing segment that this guy did, William Spear. I then went on to buy his books. I went on to then, in fact, become a Feng Shui practitioner. So I learnt, studied, did courses with trainers and Feng Shui practitioners from the UK, from China, from India, from Australia. Amazing journey. And I also had the chance to lecture with a good late friend of mine called Eve, and we did lectures as well on Feng Shui. I took myself out of whatever zone I was in. I discovered this amazing new thing got inspired by it, bought lots of books on feng shui, practiced it. Like I say, did measurements, did this, that, and the other. Terrific journey, really loved it. What is it that you are craving to do? Well, you don't even know, but you can go and research. The advantage today is that online there are so many different avenues to look at things that we could do, but they've got to inspire us. They've got to be from the heart, from the gut, from the instinct, and go and discover it. But more importantly, I would say, try to go outside your comfort zone. Try and do things like my feng shui example, knew nothing about it, and I went on this amazing journey for the best part of 10 years, where I just lapped it all up and still love it today. So if this video has spoken to you, then please like, share, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel so you can continue to receive videos as and when they come out on leadership. So I want to thank you for watching and listening, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.